Hello, welcome back to Let's Talk English. And today I'm going to start a very special video series. As you know, we have been sharing videos on an everyday basis, right? And today marks the starting of all of the modules being covered in IELTS. So today you will be getting IELTS Speaking Overview. Tomorrow, I will be discussing IELTS Speaking Part 1, then Part 2, then Part 3. So, in total, your IELTS Speaking is going to be finished within 4 days. So, make sure you're subscribed because today I'm going to share with you. The video is going to be about what is IELTS Speaking. If you are someone who is planning to start their preparation, trust me, after this video, you don't need to join any classes. For evaluation, it is very important. I'm not saying you should not go, but you don't need to at least take the full course. That's the purpose of this video. So on that point, let's begin. See, when we talk about IELTS speaking, it is very important to understand the nature of the test. So, first of all, if I have to tell you something about the IELTS speaking test, as you have noticed in the thumbnail also, IELTS speaking is exactly the same for everyone, whether it is your academic candidate or whether they are paper based candidate or whether they are computer based general training life skills UKVI whatever. Your IELTS examiner is not even going to be interested in asking you what test of IELTS, what version you are giving. Second thing, the IELTS test is still conducted face to face with an examiner. You sit in front of an examiner to appear for your test, and he or she will evaluate you almost on the point, right? It's true that once you leave the speaking test room, they do reevaluate it, but yes, most of the scoring is done right in front of you, right? So that is another thing that we need to understand. The examiner is most likely going to be a localite. Now, this is something that not a lot of people know, right? See, IELTS is completely responsible for the logistics of the test conducting process, as well as another thing, it needs to give you a fair evaluation. So imagine one thing. Let's suppose you are in Delhi, right? And a question comes which says, what's your favorite place to go to in the town? And you say Rajouri Garden. Connaught Place though is very common, right? Or you say South X. It is highly unlikely that an examiner from Kerala would come in, listen to you, and be able to understand, okay, Rajouri is the name of the place, not a particular food item or something. So they need context to evaluate you fairly. And this is the reason why most likely your examiner is going to be from within Delhi or whichever city or state you belong to, right? Additionally, if not possible, someplace around it, right? And if by any chance you get a Britisher or a Canadian, someone which is in simpler words, a white person, they would also have been trained properly to conduct your test. So even if you're speaking something, they would be able to understand, okay, what context is this coming from? Next, because the examiner is a localite, and IELTS also says your accent does not matter. Mother tongue influence is something different that basically destroys the meaning. But as long as you are speaking schedule or schedule, maybe you speak in a very proper thick Indian accent, or maybe you have an American accent, so to say, it is not going to positively or negatively affect your score. So stop coming under the influence of some kind of rumors or myths. Lastly, you are only going to be two people inside the speaking test room, that is you and the examiner. So one thing that is very important to understand is your audio is recorded. In fact, the device that records the audio is placed right in between you and the examiner on the table. And before the test starts, the examiner will inform you, and he or she will seek your permission to record your audio. Now, this is not a privacy concern. Basically, a lot of times what happens is, let's suppose you are not happy with the score that you've received. Okay, if you go ahead and file for a rechecking, how will they go through your speaking. They need to have something. Now they will not call you back and say, okay, sir, please, we've come to know that you are the relatives of Donald Trump or Sherlock Holmes. So can you give the speaking test again because we are not sure, right? No, your same audio is evaluated by senior examiner. So for that purpose, your test recording is preserved, right? Additionally, there's one more thing that I need to tell you here. Maybe they might ask your permission, but you cannot say no, because if you say no, they will not proceed ahead with the test. And yes, whether you are a paper-based candidate, computer-based candidate, general academic life skills UKVI, your speaking test is conducted at a different time, at a different place, most likely, or maybe the same exam center if it's big enough. And sometimes you get to choose the test date for your speaking test. Sometimes they just give it to you. So make sure when you're booking the test, when you're choosing the main test date, that is for listening, reading, writing, you are well aware if you're a working professional, you will have to take a holiday of 2 days. Or maybe if you get the chance to choose it, then you can choose on the same day if there is availability. This is about the IELTS speaking test. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I will make sure I answer them once and for all, right? You can also contact me on Instagram. The handle would be down there in the links, sorry, in the description. So you can just contact me there. Okay, we've talked a lot about the IELTS test, but is there a difference? Now, see, this video is, although I am an Indian and I'm making this video so that candidates in India can get help. But if you take example of Nepal, so to say, I have a lot of students from there, Kathmandu. They have British Council and IDP both, right? If you are in the UAE, Saudi, right, I think there also both options are available, or only British Council. That being said, it's important for me to clear whether you book the test from IDP or British Council, there is no difference at all. Why? Because IDP and British Council are both just exam, they're just responsible for conducting the exam. They are not accountable for the test paper that is designed. That part is handled by Cambridge. So you can choose any test center that is closest to your home if you have the availability. If you just have IDP like in India, you know what to do. Yes, there is also a big myth. Even I was told this 6 years ago. Someone told me that you should book the test from a smaller village or a center because let's not get into the reasons. People who know this, they will understand from where I'm laughing. But yes, wherever you book the test from, it's same. So my humble request to you is only and only go ahead and book the test center whichever is the closest from your home. Okay, now let's come to the next part, very very important, right? The test structure, right? See, the entire IELTS speaking test is just 11 to 14 minutes long, and the number of questions that are asked to you are not final, right? They're not fixed. What is fixed is the time. So an examiner is responsible for evaluating you fairly, as well as conducting the test properly. What that means is you will have to, sorry, not you, but the examiner will have to ask you sufficient number of questions based on which your test does not get finished before 11 minutes and after 14 minutes. This is how even examiners are being monitored, doctored, whatever, supervised. I think the better term would be that. So yes, 11 to 14 minutes, and the number of questions, it's not fixed. What is fixed is that your test is divided into three parts. First of all, we have speaking part one. This is also known as introduction and interview. This part only runs for 3 to 5 minutes, and it also has kind of two parts in between. These are just one on one questions, and they are based on understanding you and how well you can communicate some information. So, for example, within part one, firstly, they will ask you some questions about yourself. They might ask, okay, are you a working professional or are you a student? Uh, what kind of hobbies do you have, right? Another thing that they may ask you is, Can you tell me something about your school education? That's it. I think these are the more or less 4 or 5 very repetitive topics, and we will use this to our advantage, when we come to speaking part 2 or part 3. Okay. Now, the thing is, in this entire speaking part 1, right, the topic is very general. Anybody and anyone can answer those questions, right, if they have prepared extensively. Speaking part 2, or the star of the show, long term, whatever you want to call it, 3 to 4 minutes is the official time limit, and you only have 1 minute for preparation. You will be handed over a pen and a paper to create notes along with, yeah, I said paper, right? And once that 1 minute is over, the examiner tells you, please remember, you're not allowed to watch, you're not allowed to take a watch inside. There's no wall clock, there's no timing device, right? So I'll tell you, day after tomorrow, when we get into speaking part 2, I'll exactly tell you how to understand and how to handle this situation. But understand, you will not have access to a timing device. So the examiner will inform you when that 1 minute is over. After this, you should be speaking for a minimum of 2 minutes. If you see the official Cambridge books now, there is written 1 to 2 minutes. In addition to that, the most credible, I guess, third party or external source or educator on the internet is IELTS Advantage. I've seen a couple of his videos also. They've usually given band 9 to people who have spoken for around 90 seconds. And yes, on paper that's okay, but we don't know how they score you, right? We know when they score you below, oh, sorry, when you speak less than 1 minute, they score you 5 or 4 bands, right? So, therefore, to make sure that we are safe, right, I don't want you to speak for less than 2 minutes anyhow. Ideally, 2.5 minutes. When I'll cover speaking part 2 in day after tomorrow's video, I'll also tell you 2 methods on how you can extend your answer and keep speaking for more than 2.5 minutes, or so to say endlessly, right? Because there's so much newness to it, and candidates are not usually prepared for it through their everyday interaction in the English language. Speaking part 2 usually is the hardest for almost everyone. Lastly, speaking part 3, it's called the follow up round. There is a technical term also. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten that. Right? The style is exactly same as speaking part 1, that is one on one question and answers. But here, the objective is to understand how well can you express what you think, your opinion about a particular thing. And yes, most importantly, it will be finished within 3 to 5 minutes, and the topic that you get will be same as speaking part 2. Okay, now I want to address this first before I tell you what kind of parameters are there based on which you are assessed. So what is assessed, what matters, what does not? Let me be very clear. This is an English language proficiency test. They just don't care what you are speaking as long as you're relevant. You can be imaginative, you can be creative, sky is the limit. But yes, you have to speak it, you have to deliver it in proper English, fluently, correct grammar, best of the best vocabulary that you can bring from your own mind. And yes, the pronunciation should be clear. So as long as you are saying there are 500 rivers that flow through Delhi, or there's not even one, they don't really care. Your opinions and facts do not matter. Please don't fumble because of that. I almost come in contact with more than 30 candidates on an everyday basis, and I've seen on every week's mock test, between the duration that they're giving speaking part 2, they're just thinking what is the best answer that I can give, and that just sabotages their fluency, right? Don't come under that influence. Okay, what kind of questions can be asked? Personal, everyday, non-controversial topic, anything and everything that anybody and everybody can answer. They are based on your experiences and opinions, right? And you can lie, you can imagine, you can be creative, no matter what. Are there some kind of questions that they will never ask? Yes. They'll never ask you political or religious questions. They'll never ask you something that is related to general knowledge or current affairs. No controversial topic is ever discussed, and super personal or uncomfortable questions about your marriage, your relationship with your parents, do you believe in God or not? No, never asked. They have to conduct tests in more than 160 plus countries, so they don't want themselves to be boycotted. I hope it was all clear. If you've reached so far in the video and you like it, please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so that I can get motivation. My plan is to make sure that during the month of February, I'm able to cover complete IELTS course, right? My whole purpose behind all of this is just a simple fact. For evaluation, yes, you should never ever back down. Always go to an IELTS examiner, educator who can evaluate you, even for reading and listening, right? But for the course, I just feel that the course that I'm going to share with you, it should be more than enough, and you should never have the need, or you should never feel that okay, I might have to go to a consultancy or join an institute. No, this course should be sufficient for you. All right, what does not matter? What? Okay, let's discuss what is assessed. Basically, your four criteria: fluency and coherence, lexical resources, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation. Pronunciation basically means that you should be pronouncing all words correctly. You should be audible, neither too fast nor too slow. And lastly, you should have intonation. Now, intonation is what? I'll give you a very simple example. If you remember, right, going to a hospital, standing out there and seeing, observing people, without listening to a single word, you can very clearly tell that, okay, this family has had the blessings of a girl child or a boy child, and they're very happy. Their faces show that. Even the volume at what they speak, energy tells that. Unfortunately, if someone has lost a near and dear one, you immediately sense that. It's not a clear definition, appropriate definition of intonation, but when you speak, right? When you're not happy about something, you kind of slow down, right? The word stress is a little different, right? And when you're very happy and you're recalling that, your voice is louder, your speed is higher, it increases without you even controlling it, right? So, in a nutshell, the answer that you give, the way that you give it, it should not sound like robotic, that you're reading something. Intonation is that only, right? The variation of pitch that you do in technical terms. Okay, grammatical range and accuracy, there are basically 2 points here. Point number one is accuracy. Your tenses choice should be good. Your handling of the grammar should be good. That is verb choices, uh, tense choice. So we've discussed. That's more important thing, right? Articles, prepositions, stuff like that. Okay. In addition to that, range means a mixture of a variety of sentence structures. You should be using simple, complex, compound, and also passive and conditional. If you can use a variety of this, trust me, no one can stop you from getting a band 9. If you need me to cover that topic, just let me know. I come every day on YouTube and try to share something with you that can be helpful. So just make sure that you are commenting down below whatever you want in terms of my help. Okay. Lexical resources, vocabulary. This contains using correct vocabulary, using specific vocabulary, using words that are not incorrectly used, right? So if you go to a restaurant where they serve Punjabi food, you'll simply say, "Na, have you cooked this particular dish very freshly?" Most likely, I'm fumbling because I'm a little nervous on the camera, but yeah. So the thing is, yeah, quite an irony, speaking examiner sharing what to do in high speaking while fumbling. All right, the mic is still working. Okay, where were we? Lexical resources. So you should be using correct vocabulary. You cannot use inappropriate vocabulary. I remember I was checking the mock test of a writing candidate last week, and in place of social media influencer, he had written activist. That is suicide. That, my God, I think YouTube might not limit this, but yes, that's, you're wanting to fail if you're doing those blunders. So incorrect vocabulary cannot be used. You have to use appropriate specific vocabulary, and you also need to make sure that you are using non-repetitive vocabulary. If you take a word and repeat it multiple times, that will result in your score getting lowered. Lastly, for a band 7 or higher on the vocabulary part, you need to ensure one thing: you are using idioms. What are idioms? Idioms are basically over the moon, right? Last nail in the coffin. That's a very good idiom. I use it often. Piece of cake. That's also an idiom. Just one last thing, right? For connecting words, for idioms, everything, I will link the whole speaking PDF, something very similar to what you are looking. Let me give you a glimpse here if I'm able to. So, this ultimate band 9 speaking course, I will share the link. Whatever we've discussed, this has all come from here, right? It has been compiled by me, so you can trust it completely. Trust me, I have a band 8.5 in my own IELTS, which is a native like proficiency, and a 9 and 9 on listening and reading, and 7.5 in writing and speaking in just one single attempt that I gave for IELTS almost 6 years ago, right? So, a lot of experience, my own experience as a candidate, that all is coming here live in front of you. And you can share it, you can do whatever you want. Fluency and coherence. Your speech should be organized. Your main answers should come first. Your explanations should come afterward. And your answers should be long enough. They should neither be too short nor be too long. Tomorrow, in speaking part 1 video, I will explain all of this in detail. So just make sure you've subscribed and hit that bell icon, due to which you'll get a notification when I post a video. Most likely tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'll be posting the video. Okay, last few things. I think we've come quite far in the video. So on the test day, make sure that you reach the test center 1 hour earlier. It's like, a conservative estimate, because we don't want to get under stress if we reach there exactly in the nick of the time, right? If you're living too far, just make sure your arrangements are good enough, because we don't want to be under any kind of stress related to not coming to the test center on time. Carry your original passport and a clear water bottle, and if it is possible, take someone along with you who can handle your belongings. And lastly, yeah, you'll have to book them for 2 days, okay? And whatever candidates you meet, right, whatever they're saying, whether it is too good or too bad, you need to understand that they are telling their own experiences, which are subjective. The examiners are trained to act like your friends, not your foes. They don't want to see you again. So, bad experiences are subjective. Trust me, they might not have had a good experience inside. That does not mean the same will happen with you, right? And inside of the speaking room, a few small things. I think it will take me a maximum of a minute to cover all of this. You need to look presentable and confident, and that does not mean that you start buying new clothes. No, just go in semi-formal attire. You don't need anything else. Pant, shirt, anything that's considered that makes you look serious about the test. Please be polite and courteous. Remember, although you've paid money for the test, but there is a subjective evaluation. I'll tell you further when I take the whole band descriptor class. Okay. Most likely they will ask you to take a seat, but if they have not, don't just sit right away. It looks very rude, very impolite. You want to look groomed and well behaved, okay? Try your luck, but in my experiences, the examiner have never helped any of the candidates. If they want, they'll do it by themselves, but trust me, they are also being recorded. If they start giving you hints or something and it gets recorded, that man or woman is going to lose their job, right? Although, if you don't understand a question, don't say, can you, I don't know what that means. What should I answer here? No, simply ask for a repetition. You'll be able to understand what they asked. Acha, most likely, na, once You've asked for a repetition. They will also not exactly repeat the same words. They'll try to synonymize, and that should do the work for you. And lastly, when you are leaving, exiting, be thankful, not grateful or appeasing. It's of no use. Don't do that. Don't try to butter things up. They're not going to help you. But yeah, being thankful goes a long way, right? So this was your speaking test overview. Do let me know in the comments if you have any doubts. I'll be more than happy to help you. Instagram handle is linked in the description. If you want me to evaluate your speaking, yes, go ahead and just message me. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Okay. So, and let's not talk about this on camera, right? I wish you all a good luck. Wherever you have any problems, just message me or comment down in the section. We'll be more than happy to help you. Until then, love you all. Goodbye. Best of luck.